Because you know how much I was like even reluctant when he was playing well. I'm like,
Yep.
I didn't like Teddy, but he's doing really well. I might as well play him in a slam matchup against the Falcons. Fuck me sideways.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, where men of fantasy genius have realized, hey guys, we don't need real football skills to dominate on the fantasy field. Yeah. So slap on your pads and grab your helmet. Shit's about to get real.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another edition of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. I am your host, Nick Schreck, and joining me is my favorite. He's Vinny Gonzalez. Vinny, what is up?
What's going on, Schreck? Great to be here as always.
Absolutely, man. Week 8 staring us in the face. It's been a bit of a bumpy ride for me in a lot of leagues, and nobody's safe is basically what we were talking about pre-podcast. Especially in our league of record. Anybody can end up in the basement or possibly end up on top so far. It's been a roller coaster of a year.
Yeah, it's very tight. In our league of record, it's like one win is separating 80% of the league from going up or down on each other. So It's like going down on each other. Nice. If only we were playing for that, that'd be real sweet. But yeah, it's very close. And a lot of the COVID shit it looks like it passed because now they're just like, yeah, there are positives. We're just gonna
roll the dice, baby.
So I guess they don't give a shit about that anymore. So we can, I guess, pump the brakes a little. But the injuries are mounting and shit's getting tight, man. We're halfway. If you do playoffs starting week 15, so
yeah, it's crazy, man. To think, we were worried if we were gonna have a season, and now here we are going into week 8, and it's kind of like, NFL has brushed COVID aside, and we're now worried about the injuries more than we are COVID and the season making it to the end.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like a nice little caveat. Like, it's like, all right, fine. NFL machine will continue to plow, but doesn't panic you any less in the grand scheme.
No, of course not. But it gives you that little something to hold on to. They want the few constants in the world right now are COVID and NFL, and you need the good when you have all the bad. Yeah. So. It's good to be here, Vin, and you and Walsh have kind of been holding things down, and we've graciously given Walsh off for the week, so we apologize for those of you that depend on him, but you get your faithful stud here in Vinny, and we'll see if I can you like that, give you a nice little pump you up for the podcast.
Yeah, I'm a little down in the dumps though from Thursday, so I'll try to project that in a positive way.
Hey. Teddy, he's a heartbreaker, man. We've always known this.
I'm new to the because you know how much I was like even reluctant when he was playing well. I'm like, I didn't like Teddy, but he's doing really well. I might as well play him in a slam matchup against the Falcons. Fuck me sideways.
Oh, he did. Yeah, the Panthers fucked you sideways real good. Yeah. But let's try and find some good out there, Vinny. And let's start with the first game of the week, Steelers at the Ravens. We'll mention bye weeks, Cardinals, Texans, Jaguars, and the Washington football team. So we'll start on the Steelers and Ravens, -4 over under of 46.5. Ingram is considered a game time decision, but hasn't practiced all week. We'll obviously touch on that, but it seems like that's going to be a wash. Let's start on the Pittsburgh side of the ball, Vin, and let's just kind of rattle through the names that we think are at least somewhat relevant, and we're going to skip right kind of through James Conner, who 18 plus touches in 5 straight games, 218 total yards with 2 TDs over his last 2 meetings against the Ravens. He's a borderline running back 1 here, I think, in this matchup.
Yeah, it's good shit. They're just going to keep riding Connor. Start him with confidence. These are always gritty, and I feel like they're going to run the ball a little bit more. I think it's going to be low scoring, but I think that favors James Conner more than a lot of other Steelers in this matchup.
Yeah, well, I'm going to transition it right over to the wide receivers, and Juju Smith-Schuster, he gives us his best game, 9 for 85 and no touchdowns last week. He's like a risky. I've got whiskey on the mind, ladies and gents.
Very, very whiskey.
Very well done. A risky wide receiver 3. He gets Marlon Humphrey, who's allowed 285 yards and 0 touchdowns on 47 targets this year. Not great.
Yeah, I think if you can sit him, I would sit him because that matchup has just been absolutely brutal for slot guys or even guys that move around the formation like Juju usually does. So if you have stellar wide receivers and Juju's kind of been disappointing you lately, I think this is one where you can play a more favorable matchup for one of your like in that same kind of Juju tier, but they have a better matchup. I would definitely go with that over frustratingly playing him by force. Like you don't really need to anymore.
Yeah, I think you have some other options that at least you could roll with. And like you said, I mean, Deontay Johnson here, I think a good option considering you look at some of the other perimeter wide receivers and what they've done here against them. You cool with playing Chase Claypool?
I mean, we've seen his lowest floor, which was last week, and then we've seen his highest ceiling, which was 2 weeks ago, where he just goes to fuck off for 4 touchdowns. So in a matchup where I'm not really expecting a lot of points, I really kind of don't. I'd probably be more inclined to play him in a shootout type style. But if you're in a pinch, I don't know. I think I would probably look elsewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else on the Pittsburgh side of the ball for you?
Nah. I mean, I guess he's got the same floor as any other tight end, so I think he could still do that normal damage, but that's not necessarily a good thing.
Okay. Why don't you kick us off on the Ravens side of the ball then?
So Lamar here, he's kind of been having a down year, but you got to play Lamar. So unless you have any other stellar matchups or you're, I don't know, flush at quarterback or some shit, I don't know. I think you're just rolling him here, hoping for the best. Probably better days ahead of him, but we could also switch to like going to the Mark Ingram situation, which you touched on earlier. With the ankle issue, it looks like he's going to miss. So I'm, banking on that now. It's still an early game, so you can do whatever you need to do to your lineup, but you don't really want to play running backs against the Pittsburgh Steelers anyway. So even if you picked up a guy like Gus Edwards or if you had J.K. Dobbins still for whatever reason, I don't really think you're playing any of these guys. But if you stash Dobbins or Edwards going forward, I think their schedule kind of opens up, obviously. And they don't play the Steelers every fucking week, but this would not be the week to play them. And then for the wide receivers, I don't know if I'm comfortable playing really any of the wide receivers just because they're still kind of throwing it around so much to whoever. So I don't really know. Like Hollywood's probably the best option, or is the best option out of the bunch, but has showed a decent floor, but nothing too stellar otherwise to warrant like a fuck yeah, I want to play him.
Yeah, I'm okay with not giving it the fuck yeah, I want to play him. I think he could be a good buy low target for season long leagues with the buy out of the way. As Wall loves to say, regression is fucking real. I think he's got to have some positive TD regression come. I don't know that it's necessarily here, but I think you can put him in as a low wide receiver too.
Yeah, I feel that. And then lastly, the tight end situation, like it's Mark Andrews and you're rolling him and that's that.
Yeah, he's in there. It's just you can't think too hard about that one.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Vin, let's pick it.
I'm going to go with the Steelers. I was surprised at the line. I thought they would be favored, and I'm probably going to bet them a lot like I did last week, and I hope it works again.
All right. I'm actually going to take the Ravens. I think it's a close one. I think you can go either way, but I'm going to take the Ravens. First split of the podcast. Let's move it on over. Colts -2.5 with the Lions over under 50.5. The Colts come off their week 7 bye. They get the 3-3 Lions, and I think it's a smash spot here to try and get Jonathan Taylor on kind of a breakout opportunity because the Lions have been bad against running backs, period.
Yeah, straight up. We've seen like Jonathan Taylor's carry usage be a little sporadic to say the least. It's just kind of like how we talk about it every week. I feel like Frank Reich just knows what he's doing and he's going to game plan and use them the right way and not give too much to one guy. But this is kind of like a sneaky game for the Lions, I think, to come out and kind of stun the Colts who have kind of outperformed or at least beat up bad teams. So you'd think it's a smash play, but I don't know. Lions could come out and be more dominant than we think. They also, I forget who they traded for, but they wanted to bump that line up too on defense. But you're probably not doing much better on, with these bye weeks too for running back. So, I mean, you're playing Jonathan Taylor just because he's kind of worked his way into like the must start running back 2 area. So I'm just splitting hairs.
Yeah, I think he's a fine running back too. I'm not worried about him. I mean, Naheem Hines is had his role, but I think they're gonna do it on the ground. I think Jonathan Taylor does it. Obviously, Naheem Hines not a play for me. But over in the passing game, Vin, I really don't know that there's any confidence in any of them. I mean, Hilton has had some recent production, just looking at his air yard share of 27%. But I think he's a boomer bust if you really needed a guy here, but I don't have any confidence in the pass game.
Yeah, until we really see, I don't know. T.Y.'s just kind of like so out on the fringe, he's dropped in a lot of leagues, honestly. So he's the most consistent and probably the most likely to be played, I think, out of this group. Zach Pascal maybe too, but this game could shoot out, but just because kind of that's how the Lions have to in their games, or their defense just getting beat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you'd probably want a softer defense to play, to consider one of those guys for this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really comes down to the only person I have any confidence in is Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. And then the whole tight end situation just got muddled by Trey Burton being healthy and good. So they're kind of on the like Jack Doyle, Mo Alley Cox, Trey Burton. It's just too much for one team to even decide.
Agreed. Ready to flip over to the Lions side of the ball?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it. Matthew Stafford, who has had some success, this is not the matchup for him. The Colts have yet to allow a top 12 QB1 score, so I don't think that changes here. DeAndre Swift is really like the big question mark, right? Because I know you and Walsh have talked about him a bunch, and we've talked about, you guys have talked about his season high playing time. Adrian Peterson is staying involved. He had 11 touches to Swift's 13. Like, Swift is getting in the end zone. It's just like, where's the confidence? Like, how do you have confidence here?
I don't know. I was going to ask you, since you have him, the best mentality, or to get inside the mentality of how the fuck do you even throw this guy in your lineup, is to have him and make decisions based on it. But I don't know. He's he's like an awesome high ceiling flex play.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's it could be a game winner. It could absolutely fuck you. But lately it's been trending towards not fucking you though, which has been nice.
Yeah, it's been a nice surprise. Again, nothing that we can predict with any consistency or any confidence. But I agree. I think he's a flex, and I have been struggling with him the past few weeks just based on, look, I'm never personally in the situation with Zeke where you have to play him, but he's just been a fucking bum. Melvin Gordon got in the end zone and, got me points because Philip Lindsay ends up leaving the game last week. It was just right place, right time. Pieces have fallen into place, but I've been balancing that DeAndre Swift thing in a couple of leagues. I own him a lot of places, and I don't know where I have the confidence. I think it just comes down to bye weeks and what your other options look like. I think depending, it really is so lineup dependent, but with no confidence at all.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes those force plays where you don't have a better option. It's fuck, I got to play Swift this week. That worked out the last 2 times. So
yep.
I mean,
third time's a charm.
Yeah, keep it rolling. I don't know. I just don't trust Matt Patricia and what they do or what they want to do on that weird ass team. So I guess ride it while it's hot. Let's say that. And the matchup's not sweet. The Colts defense has been pretty solid, but they've played lower tier teams when you look at their schedule as a whole. So I don't know. Anything could happen. Maybe, I don't know. He's also got the passing game work too. So it's just, the high risk, high ceiling.
Yeah. Can end up with a 0, but we'll see what happens. In the pass game, Vin, Kenny Golladay, wide receiver 1, matchup proof. He's got 100 yards and/or a touchdown of 4 straight since returning from the hamstring pull. Him and then Hawkinson are the only 2 pass catchers that I want in my lineups. Not a great matchup for Hawkinson here. The Colts have been pretty good against the tight end, but considering the state of tight ends, I think you're going to roll them. Yeah,
I think you're pretty dead on with those 2. I mean, Kenny Golladay, you just roll him, and then Hawkinson's almost in the just roll him because he's just got he's got like the 5 to 6 targets, always the touchdown upside. So I have no problem.
Yep, I'm seeing. I'm just looking at his stats quick. He's got 50 plus yards and/or a touchdown in 6 of 6. So, again, for a tight end, you can't really ask for more for consistency wise. But that's it for me. No Marvin Jones love. None of the other guys here. Yeah,
no.
All right, let's pick them. I'm taking the Colts.
I'm going to go with the Lions in a upset.
Two splits. What a start to the podcast.
Yeah, me loving the underdogs this week does not bode well for my DraftKings bank account.
But here we are.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Titans Bengals. Titans -6.5 at the Cincinnati Bengals, over under 53. A.J. Brown, we expect to be fine and go. Joe Mixon is out once again, and we'll touch on him when we get to that side of the ball. Let's start with the Titans here. Brian Tannehill is a smash start as a QB1.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much play everybody, right?
Yeah, Derrick Henry. Yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry's a smash one.
I guess the sneaky play would be Corey Davis if you want.
I'm okay. Yeah, if
he's been getting in the end zone and
wide receiver. I would say maybe a low end wide receiver 3.
I'd rather play Corey Davis than Juju this week.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be absolutely very difficult to pull the trigger on if I had that exact situation. But now, me having neither of them, I would definitely just looking at it like non-biased.
Yeah, I mean his receiving lines are 635 and a touchdown, 569 and no touchdowns, 336 and 1 and 7 101 and 0. I mean it's pretty good.
Yeah, he's been getting away with it, getting it done.
Considering. So, all right, I like to start everything. Let's flip to the other side of the ball then, Vin. Let's talk about your Bengals, and I'm going to let you take us away here.
Sure. So they're really banged up, and I think they're going to have a hard time this game. But Joe Burrow's going to do his fucking thing, take like 90 hits, and put up 30 points somehow, some way. This guy, they just need to get this guy a line, and we will be a good team. But for now, even our bad offensive line is all hurt, banged up, and very unlikely to play. It's like Bobby Hart's going to miss. Trey Hopkins is going to miss.
Not great.
Joe Mixon's out. Yeah, it's just very, very shitty stuff. So, again, Bernard becomes an instant play.
Yep.
He's been great when he has to step in and pretty great, like, in general. Like, eye test just watching him. He's almost been better than Joe Mixon this year when you look at it. Like,
which is sad, but it's great. It's great for him.
Sad, yes.
Sad for Joe Mixon, but great for Bernard.
And then you're playing, I think, all the wide receivers too. Tyler Boyd, of course. T. Higgins has been a beast, and then A.J. Green has kind of had that resurgence, which I am still thinking it's almost trade bait that they're working him in like
that. I don't get. We watched him drop off the cliff, and now all of a sudden he's 24 team high of 24 targets over the last 2 weeks. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like also like it's just Joe Burrow throws so much that those are going to go. Yeah, it's just everyone is a volume play. Like Tyler Boyd's been thriving off that shit. T. Higgins as well.
Yeah.
So like they're all getting like around anywhere from 8 to 13 targets a game for all of them. Sometimes they all get like 13 targets a game. So I think their ceilings we've seen what they are, and then their floors are very high too. So they're pretty much safe plays as long as the Bengals are terrible and or in shootouts. So I like it.
Sweet deal. I mean, that might have been the easiest one yet. Let's pick them. I'm taking the Titans.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Titans too.
Wow.
They're too good. Bengals are too hurt.
That's a true analysis right there, guys. You don't always see that. He speaks to you from the heart. On to the Vikings at the Packers. The Packers 6.5 over under 51. Dalvin Cook questionable after initially clearing the injury report. Aaron Jones is out, so it could be a battle of the backups here. Week 8's second highest total game. Minnesota comes off its bye. Green Bay second in the NFL in scoring, averaging just under 33 points per game. Let's start on the Minnesota Vikings side of the ball. I think you probably have other options, but he's like a fringe QB1 kind of guy.
Yeah. Whenever you start Kirk, you're panicked as shit. Like even when he played the Falcons, he had 5 points after half, and then wound up with I think 2022. So
it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, and I think he did that week 1 with the Packers too. Not like anyone was immediately playing Kirk, but that was how it went down. So he always pads the stats. So you don't panic until the game is over with Kirk.
Amen. Dalvin Cook, we expect. I think I expect him to go. Do you?
Yeah, I do too. It's just obviously keep an eye on it.
And he's a running back 1 automatically if he's active. So
good matchup, and he can at least I think he scored the first touchdown for the Vikings in every game he's been healthy. That's probably wrong, but it seems like that when watching. Yeah. But so if you're worried about they get blown out again and maybe they sit him, I think he can still do damage early. So
I'm right there with you. Adam Thielen is a easy start. I think Justin Jefferson, although maybe a little bit of a tougher matchup here, is still also a high wide receiver 3 start.
Yeah, I mean someone's going to be on Alexander. I would assume that's probably going to go to Thielen. So I don't know if Alexander shadows, but I would assume that they might split time or something. But I like them both as plays with this over-under and how good they've both been. They've been really lights out.
Yeah, great work. And Jefferson's been a nice diamond in the rough, if you will, for people in a season that's been a little tumultuous with the waiver wire, COVID, injuries, and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just looking at my stuff. Who else we got here? Anybody else for you, Vin?
I don't think I'm messing with Irv Smith or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it either. I think I'm gonna stay where we are. Let's flip over to the other side of the ball. Aaron Rodgers has been hot. Vikings defense can't rush the passer for shit, and he's gonna have himself a nice week here once again.
Yeah, he's gonna fuck them up, and I think all of the starting cornerbacks for the Vikings are out. So it's just going to be even worse than it was the first time. Obviously, a lot of Adams. MVS might be a cool spot play if you want to get it's kind of like a Corey Davis sort of play. They could just really on the matchup for that second wide receiver. And I don't know. I didn't really see anything on Lazard. I think they still have to activate him, but I think he's been practicing and trending the right way. So obviously that dictates if MVS becomes a spot play for you or not.
Yep.
Or if Lazard is just active, maybe he becomes an interesting play. But right now it's Adams and MVS for me. And then I don't know. What do you think about Tanyan? Or Tunyon? Sorry,
Tunyon. I'm a little concerned on some lower volume with Adams back and healthy. I think it's a good matchup. The Vikings have been burned by tight ends, 23 catches on 27 targets, 344 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I'm okay with him in this matchup. I'm a little bit more concerned about him the rest of the way. But I think in this matchup, you can put him in your lineup.
Yeah, well said. Especially when Lazard comes back. I think it's kind of doubtful this week. But once he's back in the fold and then it's Adams, MVS, Lazard, I don't think that Tunyon really becomes a factor. So I think that sun is setting.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoy it while you have it, I think, but unfortunately, that will come to pass soon enough. As we mentioned, Aaron Jones out. Jamal Williams becomes a true every down back here. I think he's a fringe running back 1.
Yeah, man. Plug him in and let it rip. He was just great matchup last week, smashed. Pretty decent matchup this week. Probably will smash again.
I'm right there with you. Anybody else in these games?
No.
Let's pick them. I'm taking the Packers.
Yeah, Packers.
Boom. Sweep it on through. Patriots at the Bills. -3.5. Over under 41.5. Harry and Edelman are out. Edelman has that precautionary surgery. Cam Newton is back and then benched for Stidham last week in the second half. I'm just trying to see. I may have missed. Do we have an official – is Newton back the starter this week?
Oh, yeah. That was cleared up right after the game. Bill was like, no fucking way. It's Cam.
I still want nothing to do with him, but –
Yeah. I mean, you'd love to have some sort of confidence in Cam, and there just has been none so
Can't do
far.
it.
And how crazy how quickly that changed, like night and day. Beginning of the season, they're just like, I can't believe Cam was passed up on by all these teams, and then directly cut to now, and it's like
Off a cliff.
Yeah, right off a cliff. Feel bad for him.
Yeah,
I don't know, in better matchups, I think he would be suited for a bounce back, but like you lose Edelman, you lose Harry, they're going to run like some kind of fucked up Wildcat offense this whole game or some weird shit. So
I want no part of the Patriots offense for fantasy.
yeah, I mean, how could you? Like Cam always has that rushing floor, but
Not unless you're playing some crazy DFS lineup that you want to throw some money at, but nothing for season long.
yeah, such a dangerous contrarian play to play Cam.
You have to. For DFS, though, I do love the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs stack, which I think will be interesting.
Gilmore is possibly going to miss this game too.
Possible.
So Diggs would just go even more nuts. Not that he wouldn't eat anyway.
But even more so.
Even more so, correct.
So we'd obviously would love that. But Josh Allen's a usual every week starter for me.
Yeah, and if you've had him, I could see how you're getting frustrated, but I think it's kind of in the very comparable to like Lamar Jackson. Like he's been serviceable, but no booms yet, really.
Yep. I don't think he booms here, but I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, somewhere in that 20 to 25 range.
Correct. Yep, he'll get you back to that comfortable level that you were previously.
Yeah, for sure.
When you look at the running back situation, Vin, do you have any confidence, right? You're almost back to a 50-50 committee based on what they did last week versus the Jets, which is frustrating because running backs have done well against the Patriots this year. I just don't know that do you have enough confidence that Singletary or Moss could be a flex play?
Confidence level is 0 for both of them, but if I had to pick, I think Zach Moss is probably just like a better running back than Singletary. When Moss missed the last 4 games.
Yep.
And Singletary's done dick. Like even in good matchups, like it was just
he didn't take advantage of the opportunity.
No, not at all. So I think obviously you're holding Zach Moss. I don't think you're playing him at all. But and if you own Singletary, I don't think you play him either.
Yeah, I think unless you're forced into some crazy spot.
Yeah,
but I think he's the one. If you had to play one of the two, I think it is Singletary.
Yeah,
no confidence. I agree. Not debating. Just I think that's who I'm playing. If I own both of them and had to play one, gun to my head, it's Singletary.
Yeah, gun to my head. Yeah, you're right. But I think season long as we go, Zach Moss, maybe we see some stuff out of him.
Correct. I agree.
And it grows into something like we've always wanted. But not looking great.
I am right there with you. So Stephon Diggs, we talked about him. He's obviously a wide receiver 1 here. Are we concerned? Like Cole Beasley is just kind of quietly had himself a nice week there last week.
A lot has to do with that with John Brown missing, and John Brown practiced fully. Yeah, exactly. So I'd be scared. I would be scared to play Cole Beasley. Like you're obviously riding the hot streak, but the reason of the hot streak
has been John Brown
is coming back. So it's a tough call. I think you sit him. And then even if you own John Brown, I think you don't touch him either.
Correct. You got to wait. You got to let him get reestablished. I think prove the health and get out there a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
And as far as tight end, I have no interest here at all.
No. And this is such a weird fucking game. Like we literally think it's just going to be Josh Allen and Diggs, which it very well could be. So I don't know. I think
that would have been just easier. A perfect open and close for us would have been Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen.
You got to talk it out, Schreck.
It's good. It will give a little explanation behind the thought process. I think it's a Bills win here.
Yeah, Bills for me too.
Sweep it on through. Raiders at the Browns, -2.5, over under of 51. Derek Carr visits the Cleveland Browns with a top 14 fantasy finish in 4 of his last 5 starts. It doesn't change anything for me as far as fantasy for him. But personally, I'm happy to see Derek Carr finally moving and shaking a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's a stream, though. You don't think he's stream worthy?
I think it's a good matchup. I think, I think it depends on on who's on your wire and whatnot, but I think he can be a stream candidate.
Kirk or Carr?
I'm going to play Kirk.
Okay.
I'll ride the coaster.
I think I'd go Carr there. And I don't know why, but it makes me feel safer, even though it shouldn't. Like they're kind of the same. So
they are both roller coasters, but whatever, I mean, I scarily feel safer with Kirk, and that's not a reassurance
that is
statement.
scary.
So, that's they're both scary answers for everybody. Josh Jacobs, what do we think? He hasn't reached 100 yards from scrimmage since week 2. His yards per carry are down 1.35 yards from 2019. He's a touchdown reliant guy now.
Yeah, he really is. And Cleveland's kind of middle of the pack with rushing, but again, this guy functions pretty much on volume, so they're still going to give it to him. And
RB2.
Yeah, he's still in that vein, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
No, you're going to plug and play. I think it's one of those things where you look at it, the stat each week, and you're like, oh, well, there's Josh Jacobs again.
It's like that. Should I be panicking? No, just relax. But it's
correct when you look at the number. But when you actually look at the production, it's like if you took the name away and just looked at the numbers, you'd be like, this guy really is not that great. But
this is Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, yikes. But you're really not that far off. Darren Waller, stud start.
Love Darren Waller.
Slam dunk here. What do you think about Hunter Renfrow? It's cleared 60 yards only once in six games.
Fuck that. All about Henry Ruggs, dude.
Tell me more.
I just love the play. I think that now that he's been in and the way they've been using him for that deep threat, I love that as the kind of new Deshaun Jackson play.
Okay.
So I like that in that way. You're swinging, you're a rough bye week.
Sure.
Probably if you're plugging him in for a flex, fucking love that. Wide receiver 3, fucking love that. He's the home run, could put your team over the top with a big shot here.
I mean, he fits the role, right? The boom bust. I mean, Cleveland's allowed the league's 3rd most points per game to wide receivers and the 5th most completions of 20 plus yards or more. So Ruggs fits exactly what you just described. This Sean Jackson role there. Boom or bust, baby.
Yeah, love the play there. And then I actually have this weird newfound confidence in Nelson Aguilar, which is so strange. He's been the most targeted guy for them steadily over the last 3 weeks.
Have you been tested for COVID?
No, but I am really dumb.
Because what you just said is sickening.
Yeah, but dude, he's coming away with touchdowns. He's 6 to 8 targets a week. It's been working. The matchup is good against the Browns, so I don't hate it.
It's
he's
one of those where I feel like I just
a safe play, and then Ruggs is the massive home run shot.
Yeah, it's I guess it's that being burned in the past and trying to find the excuse why Aguilar can't you're right, he has been doing it consistently, right? But it's the I've been burned this there's just
Correct.
no way
I drafted him his rookie year as my wide receiver 2. No one's been more burned by Aguilar than me. So I don't even know what you're referring to right now.
You've come full circle.
Yeah. It's the healing process. I don't know. It's just he's been on fire in a quiet way and has been almost the best part of their offense, other obviously Darren Waller, but in their passing game. So I dig it.
Giving credit where credit's due.
Yeah, man. Gotta respect it.
Fine. I'll give it to you. Let's flip to the other side of the ball. Odell Beckham obviously done with the knee. Austin Hooper likely going to be out. He added
he's
Happy.
out.
Oh, he is officially out. Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was officially out yet.
Still recovering from appendicitis.
Yeah, a little appy there for him. Kareem Hunt's going to have himself a day.
Yeah, he's still going to put in the work, head down, and still thriving off those Nick Chubb-less weeks.
Sorry, Milo was adjusting as he was reviewing the notes on the game.
I just saw him pop in.
He's curled up on the couch and then he decided to shift to the other side. So he was just making sure our notes are up to par on the game here. With OBJ gone, I mean, you lose a pretty large number of targets and air yards with his loss. So you got to figure they got to come down to somebody, right? Landry's been banged up, but his usage here could could jump pretty significantly. And the Raiders defense is not that great against the pass.
So I don't really think Landry gets an increase or anything like that.
Okay.
I think he kind of still maintains like his slot role, which he's pretty much been rocking, which is not a bad thing. And will probably be more, not necessarily targeted, but more of a consideration for Baker when he drops back, like more of a go-to since Odell is missing, if that makes sense to you. I just think his role stays the same. So it's not like an exciting, oh, fuck, huge workload increase. I think that goes more to Rashard Higgins, who's been like everyone's kind of diamond in the rough wannabe for a while.
Sure.
So opportunity is definitely here. And then I saw a couple people pick up Donovan Peoples-Jones, which is, I think, heavily based off of the game winner he caught against the Bengals, which is all fine and good, but I don't think you should really necessarily be considering playing him, especially when like a guy like Rashard Higgins, who's been in the system and kind of proven it slightly, I think he more warrants that jump in a consideration for you.
Yeah. I'm there with you. I think the other guy here, Harrison Bryant, that tight end, I think he's a streamable tight end here this week in the matchup and just in the volume that we saw him there. Vegas, the Raiders have been torched by the Chiefs and the Bucks. While the tight ends have more talent there, I think there's no reason if you need a tight end that Bryant can't be a good one for you.
Yeah, it's like Kelsey fucked them up and Gronk fucked them up. So they're the elites, but I think it's a good spot. Only like Njoku is still there, and I don't know. Do they just hate the guy? Like, do they really want to? They should probably trade him.
Yeah, I mean they should. It seems like he's a secondary tight end option. Not even. I don't even know where he falls on the total depth chart, but for receiving, but he doesn't even seem like the primary one, at least last week against Cincinnati. Bryant seems to be the guy.
He's definitely on the back. Like, I think he was third behind Harrison Bryant. But I like the call. It's kind of like the Dalton Schultz thing. Next guy up, and he smashes, and then just keep it rolling.
Yeah, might as well. Play the hot hand, baby.
Yes, sir.
Anything else in this game?
No.
All right, let's pick them. I am taking the Browns.
Dude, go Raiders! I fucking love the underdogs.
I'm the safe play, and you take the underdogs. But that's why you gamble and win money, and I don't.
Win money's an exaggeration.
Sure, you win some, you lose some, maybe lose more. But regardless, Vin, let's talk the final game before our first break. Jets at Chiefs minus 19.5. Over under of 48.5. Sammy Watkins still out. Crowder is likely out. I don't know if we really need to dive into this game, do we?
I mean, play all your normal Chiefs and, well, I guess, all right, so on the Chiefs, you're playing the normal suspects.
Correct.
I guess the one question mark would be Le'Veon Bell. Would you consider playing Le'Veon Bell here if they got the revenge narrative bullshit, they got possible blowout potential where he can get more work? Last week was kind of a bad indicator because, one, they blew out the Broncos.
Sure.
Two, it was snowing. So they didn't really play halfway through the third quarter. So we didn't really get a real competitive game for CEH and Bell to see their usage. So we kind of have no indication. I don't think we get an indication here, but I think there's an uptick potential to Bell's usage. But I don't know. It makes me scared because you're getting very cute with it.
Yeah, they are getting very cute. I think, unfortunately, you can end up in the same spot as we were last week, right? I mean, this stat comes from, it looks like Pro Football Focus, but Bell and CEH ended the third quarter with the same exact number of carries. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran only 4 more pass routes than Bell in the whole game. So it's definitely possible they do the same thing with Bell here against the Jets. I can't do it with any confidence. If you want to roll a dice in DFS, he's probably super cheap. Then I think that's probably more your play. But it is going to be interesting, right? Because if they do this now 2 weeks in a row in matchups where they're favored or when they're expected to get up, it could, paint some concern for CEH as you get later into the season in some of these play-up matchups or things like that for fantasy, and maybe some upside for Bell. I don't know, but I don't think with any confidence it's any Bell.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. There's really no ceiling to it for me. Like, it's not going to be like Le'Veon Bell busting loose. Like, it's going to be at max a 12-point week at best, I think. But obviously you could do a lot worse. So In a good matchup, I can get the temptation. Again, zero confidence, so I don't think I could pull the trigger.
Yeah, I'm there. And on the Jets side of the ball,
well, fucking Crowder's out, who probably. Perryman is out. I got nothing.
Great. We're gonna sweep the Jets through.
Yep.
Let's sweep the Chiefs through, and that's gonna do it for the first half, guys. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be back.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, home of the brutally honest fantasy advice you've always needed.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Exciting news, guys, coming out of the break. It is me, Vinny, and we've got a new analyst joining us. My daughter, Macy, will be with us, so any chirps and noise you hear from the background, it's just her chiming in on the players. She can't quite speak yet, but she knows what we're talking about, and she's on board with the good and the bad. So let's jump right into it, Vin, and let's talk Rams and Dolphins. Rams are -3.5 at the Dolphins, over under a 46. Higbee, we saw practice. Tua is going to be the guy. Exciting stuff.
Crazy, very crazy.
But
I don't know what to think. I'm nervous.
Yeah, I mean, we thought we knew what we had in the Dolphins finally, with Fitz, and we went through the whole saga with him, obviously, where he came out heartbroken and yada yada yada. But it's Tua time, baby. Buckle in.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting too, because a lot of the guys that did well, like Miles Gaskin, Miles the Fridge Gaskin, sorry, Devontae Parker. Preston Williams at times, like Mike Gesicki also at times.
Yep.
Does Tua being in bump them up? Well, I think it more fucks everything up than anything. Like, we don't know if he's going to check down to Miles Gaskin more, who his favorite target's going to be. He's going to force less passes. So
I think it puts everything in a holding pattern for me.
Yeah, like in a way where I'm not comfortable playing anyone except for, I guess, Parker and Gaskin, just because Gaskin's so good.
Yeah, I mean, his touch counts have been pretty consistent, 22, 21, 13, and 27. So, I think the fridge is good. I mean, again, the only thing I don't love, Devontae Parker draws Jalen Ramsey shadow coverage. But
yeah, which is also very true. I'm an idiot. Kind of so focused on the Tua thing. You're very right. Yeah, he becomes. Yeah, I mean, so I guess besides Gaskin, like everyone else is wait and see.
Yeah, I think unfortunately it has to be. We don't know what Tua's gonna give us, and I hope it's good. I'm excited for him and for what he can do for the franchise there, and obviously fantasy for us long term. But I think for this week, it's the fridge, and that's it on the Miami side of the ball.
Yeah, remains to be seen if he can really set them up until, boom, everyone higher to the stratosphere. But let's hope he can get there, because it's been fun with Fitz. They've been strangely competitive and kind of in it. So very, very unique situation here. I don't know if I've ever seen a team doing so well, and then they're like, all right, rookie quarterback time.
It really defies all logic, especially with rookie QBs. It's usually like, oh, well, we're doing well. Like, just sit them, let them learn, let them watch, but they feel they've got the magic sauce, I guess, or whatever. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
gonna be fun. Gonna be a fun one for sure.
Hang tight.
Hang tight is right. Let's talk Rams side of the ball. Then the running back situation. Dare I say, we're getting some clarity here?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, after last week, Malcolm Brown comes back and starts, doing some damage. But for the most part, it's been Henderson around that 18-touch zone, which I think he's the safest. Is that what you're?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at, obviously he's still involved. Malcolm Brown, he logs 10 touches on 40% playing time. Henderson's at a 56% snap count, which is season high for him. He's had 14-plus touches in 5 of the Rams' last 6. I think against the Dolphins, he's a mid-running back 2.
Yeah, no, you could say that with more confidence, Schreck. I'm with you.
Which I think is
he's a solid 2.
Which is some high praise for the Rams backfield, which has been a bit of a disaster.
Yeah, the only thing like with the clarity is like Malcolm Brown's strangely involved at different random times, which seems very. It's just like a hit to
Can screw you.
Henderson's value, and then Malcolm Brown himself becomes like unplayable yet somewhat, worthy of a spot play randomly. But the one thing we can say is Cam Akers is very much on the out.
Correct. Cam Akers is not what many of us hoped he could be when it became draft season. And it is what it is. It's a stash and maybe for the future, dynasty.
Yeah, for sure. Those kind of leagues, definitely.
But for a season long, that ship has sailed.
Yeah, he's been dropped for a while, I would imagine.
Well, yes, but for anybody that had hope that these injuries or any of these other movements would open the door, I think that door is firmly closed and locked. Receiving side of the ball, Cooper Kupp, he's an every week wide receiver too. He's averaging 5.3 catches per game. Not a great matchup, but I think you have to put him in there regardless.
Yeah, it's going to be a little tough, but yeah, again, I don't think you really can do better.
Yeah. Robert Woods, wide receiver 3.
I think he's a 2. I think he's better than Kupp. He's been having a better year.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the numbers quick as I don't have a ton of notes on the game, but only 2 opposing wideouts have had more than 62 yards against Florida's defense since week 2. I think that's probably my only concern, which it goes obviously for the same thing for Kupp.
Right.
So I think you can apply that everywhere.
Well, they're wide receiver 2s in an offense that uniquely uses them both. So I think their floor is safe, ceiling kind of shot.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty fair. Tight end wise, I'm not interested at all. The Dolphins are allowing the second fewest fantasy points per game to tight ends. With Higbee potentially back, he's practiced, whatever. And Gerald Everett obviously filled in nicely in his absence. Neither of them are playable.
Yeah, the Higbee thing could be fun again, maybe in a better matchup. But yeah, again, you don't want to touch it.
Yeah, unfortunately, avoid at all costs. All right, let's. You have anybody else in this game?
Nah.
Pick them. I'm taking the Rams.
Rams for me too.
There it is. On to the Chargers, -3 at the Denver Broncos. Over under 44.5. Philip Lindsay and Tim Patrick are questionable from the last we saw. Let's start on the Chargers side of the ball. Justin Herbert comes off 3 straight top 8 QB1 finishes. And the Broncos defense is not going to be a new challenge for him.
Yeah, I don't think so. Dude's been balling out. Pretty good matchups too, so that definitely helps a lot. But he is proven to be a fucking baller. So I say keep rolling, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking. His schedule the rest of the way, or at least the next few weeks, also looks good, right? He gets the Raiders after this, the Dolphins, and then the Jets. So
dude, yeah, he can be, one of those.
If you're in QB needy, I mean, obviously we preach the wire and everything else, but if you are QB needy and you can get him at a decent price as somebody's backup, not a bad option to consider, depending on the price tag.
Yeah, agreed. And it's always hard to gauge that too, because quarterbacks so easily plucked off the wire. Like,
sure,
it could be a bitch to talk to someone, but you never know unless you ask.
Yeah, again, if they're confident and they've got a guy that they're starting every week, a Patrick Mahomes, and Herbert's just sitting there, give them something they need, and it might be worth your while. The running back situation here, Josh Kelly and Justin Jackson flexes. I'm so lost on the Justin Jackson thing.
They're fucking the way it's.
He's outsnapped. He's outsnapped by Kelly.
They got fucking 2 dudes, and somehow 8 people wind up on like the rushing sheet. I'm just like, how the fuck did this happen? It looked very cut and dry. It looked like a very good play last week for, honestly, either of them against the Jaguars.
Correct.
What the fuck happened? I don't know. I don't trust it, so I'm scrapping them both. I just don't like either of them until I almost said Danny Woodhead. Eckler comes back.
I mean, Danny Woodhead would be a better option than what we're currently dealing with.
Danny Woodhead would be a better option. But yeah, fuck this backfield. I am fully out. I don't care. I don't care.
But you're fully in on Keenan Allen, baby.
Love Keenan. Always love Keenan. Keep it going, man. And then while we're talking about the wide receivers, I think Mike Williams is like been unlucky because, we've seen so many other touchdowns go to like Guyton and
Yep.
Tyron Johnson, like shit like that. So I think positive touchdown regression comes to him at some point. I think he becomes more of the touchdown dependent wide receiver 3, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially in an offense that seems to be humming with fucking Justin Herbert rocking. Yeah. So I don't hate the play. It's
I'm hopeful for Mike Williams long term. I don't know that I'm there here this week, but I'm hopeful that things can start to trend the right way.
Yeah. I think it's a nice bench guy to have. Nothing you love, but yeah, he's a fill-in.
Some good depth that can give you some options. And obviously Hunter Henry is in your lineup. No questions asked.
Yeah, he's been pretty good too. Very solid. Kind of need to see the ceiling from him too, which we haven't seen yet, but very, very good normal tight end.
6th among tight ends in targets and 5th in yards. Again, for considering what a disaster tight end can be, Macy agrees that he should be in your lineup here this week.
Macy's upset at the usage.
Yeah, I don't blame her. We're all upset about the usage a little bit, right, Mace? Chargers defense, if I'm sure they're not on the wire, but they're a home run play here against the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, don't have a lot of faith in Drew Lock.
No, let's talk about you don't have anything else on the Chargers, do you?
No.
All right, let's talk Broncos side of the ball. Philip Lindsay's concussion gives Melvin Gordon the quote-unquote bell cow duties here. Revenge game?
Sure. I mean, I always like to buy into that shit, so why not? I mean, Philip Lindsay, if anything, I think he's going to be limited, so I think Melvin Gordon continues to be the benefactor of that and probably punches in another touchdown. I just don't know how high his ceiling has been or will be this game. You know, we've seen that it hasn't been very high.
Yeah, I don't think the ceiling's been high at all. I don't think it really changes anytime soon. But, revenge game with Philip Lindsay. I mean, look, his production has really been because Philip Lindsay's been out, right? Like, Philip Lindsay, I'd argue, looks like the better back when he was playing and you're watching him. But he's just been banged up so much that by default, Melvin Gordon's the guy.
Yeah, every time Philip Lindsay has left, Melvin Gordon has been great, but that's only because Philip Lindsay has left.
Correct. Not because he's actually earned it. It's kind of like us. People fall off, and we're the constant, baby. We're still here.
Yep.
Wide receivers side of the ball. Do you have any confidence? Tim Patrick. We said we think he's going to go.
It doesn't fucking matter. I'm not playing anybody. That includes Judy. Which is basically it. That's it.
That was really all I was going to ask about was if Patrick didn't go, what you thought about Judy, but maybe some DFS, cheap DFS if possible. But other than that, no confidence here.
Yeah, and then I also think Noah Fant is out. I think that is true. Just let me double check. I just didn't add to the notes because I'm an idiot. Pretty sure he's out. But if he goes, you play him. If he's out, don't.
Yeah.
Because he's out.
Yep. Is he? No, he's still questionable, I think, technically.
Okay. Well, then what I said stands. If he plays, he's the best option for you.
And if not, he's out, baby.
There you go.
All right. Let's pick it. I'm taking the Chargers.
Chargers.
Sweep it on through. Saints -4.5 at the Chicago Bears. Over under 43.5. Michael Thomas is out. Robinson's in danger of missing with the concussion. So obviously that's one big name to watch. I'm just trying to find my place here on the Saints. I can't find my stuff for shit. It's not in order. Not great, Macy. What do you got, Finn? Kick me off. I can't find my stuff.
I only want to play Alvin Kamara. Possibly Jared Cook. Like, that's what the Saints have kind of boiled down to.
Yeah, I was going to say Jared Cook, I think I'm in on as well, especially with Michael Thomas out.
Correct, yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it's a tough matchup obviously Kamara is going to have a fine time finding work against the Bears, but it's just a tougher matchup because they're so good. Again, their defense is just good. It's just how long can the Bears' offense sustain against the Saints. So, Kamara should be fine. Latavius out since it's not a good matchup. And then, I think Jared Cook has been good. and good enough where he can take advantage of a softer Chicago D against the tight end.
Fair enough. Bears side of the ball. David Montgomery. He's in your lineup.
He's always in your lineup. He's always getting 10.
He's Don's fucking curse, baby. He's always gonna fucking put up 9 points and never put you over the edge.
That's it.
That's what he's made for. Obviously, we'll see what happens with Robinson and the concussion. Is there anybody else you trust in that offense?
No, and even if like Allen Robinson is out, like you'd be tempted for like an Anthony Miller or a Mooney. No. It's pretty much like, no, just don't touch it. And then Graham is bottom of the bag, like fuck, touchdown dependent tight end.
Yeah, if you really need something, I think there are a couple other guys we talked about that I would rather maybe roll the dice on. But again, worse offenses out there. With that, let's pick it. I'm taking the Bears.
Shit, I was going to take them too, just because right. Thomas is out. I'm a little sketched, but fuck it. I'm going to stick with it. We'll go with the dog sweep.
All right, sweep it through. Yeah, I think Thomas out's big. So I agree. I think the Bears can get it done at home.
Yeah, I think they do enough.
49ers at the Seahawks, -3 over/under of 54. Not a great showing out of the running backs here. No practice.
I don't know what's going to happen if, like, all right, so Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, Travis Homer all did not practice. They're all game time decisions. I'm assuming at least one of them will be playing.
Or it's fourth round rookie DJ Dallas.
And then that's it. Like that's who they have. So we could be looking at like a Russ 40-point fantasy game if all he's got to do is chuck the ball. So if you're running back desperate and all three of those guys are out, are you willing to roll DJ Dallas? Oh yeah, for sure. That would just be a volume opportunistic play. The only thing is it's at 4:30 this game is. If you're in one of those weird situations where you can pull that shit, sure. I would not be going into I would not be having that as my plan right now. That's
no. But again, as we kind of fall back on a nice DFS cheap option if you have a late guy that you're willing to swap out maybe.
Yeah.
Or if we get some clarity Sunday morning.
I'm assuming, there's got to be some sort of clarity here at some point.
I don't think we're going to be in the dark leading up before the 1 o'clock games, but anything is possible. The opportunity in this offense is it's too good to ignore. Russell Wilson, obviously, an automatic go. Tyler Lockett, DJ Metcalf, automatic goes. My man Tyler Lockett freaking carried me through last week.
That was fucking something. If I was playing against DK Metcalf before that game started, I'm just like, I'm taking an L.
I'm done.
This is over.
Yep.
And he just does kind of nothing, and then Lockett just fucking disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But they can also – both of them are so capable of just doing that at any time, so it's so insane.
It's insane. But there's nothing else here. Tight end, wide receivers, et cetera. Those are the only two.
Agreed.
Let's pick it. I'm taking the Seahawks.
You don't want to talk about the Niners at all?
Oh, my God.
I mean, I'm taking them too, but shit.
I'm taking the Seahawks. You're right. I actually put my Niners notes first, and then we started talking about the running backs from the notes, and I just completely forgot about the fact that I have my Niners notes stacked on top. Let's talk about the Niners, man. I think that's that might be the best piece of recommendation you've offered here tonight.
That's actually also very true.
Jimmy G. Finished above QB 17 in just one start this season.
But this is an opportunity to smash. I think it's the highest over-under.
It is. We talked about who did we talk about streaming QB before?
Kirk and Carr?
Kirk and Carr.
Garoppolo?
So Kirk, Carr, and Jimmy G. How do you rank them?
I think it's Garoppolo, Carr, Kirk.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the 49ers just have that weird thing where they just click, and it's just you don't know how it happens, but they're just shredding people.
And the Seahawks defense has been absolute dog shit.
Yeah, and I think Adams is still going to miss. He's questionable, but it's leaning towards not. And I think they become more dangerous when he's clearly back. So if he misses, I think Jimmy can do totally fine. Kittle's going to do a fuck ton. He is going to destroy. With Debo out, I think Brandon Ayuk immediately shoots up. And then they just have those guys that do their thing, like Kendrick Bourne, always doing weird shit. They're going to be short-staffed at running back yet again, but I think JaMychal Hasty is finally going to break through.
Dude, what a running back situation in this game between these two teams.
But like for the 49ers, it doesn't matter. They plug and play and they just whip people.
No, I'm just saying two fucking just like nobodies who are now going to be like fantasy relevant in two lineups. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah, very much so. And then it's like it's become this weird thing where it's like the NFC West is just fucking insane. You can be as hurt as you want. Everyone is still going to be good.
Points for you, and everybody gets some points.
Yeah, everyone will be fucking fine. Shut your mouth and do what we tell you, and you'll be good.
Especially in this division.
Yeah. But when it boils down to the running back spot, Jerick McKinnon, God forbid you have to play him. I would not. I think the upside's with Hasty, and then even when you have a 49ers running back, the upside is slim to none just because you don't know if it's going to be the guy that week.
Yeah.
I think all signs point to Hasty, which means it's going to be like Kyle Juszczyk scoring 4 touchdowns or some random shit. But
because why not?
My money's on Hasty. If you can afford to sit McKinnon, I would.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on those guys. Kittle is an absolute slam dunk in your lineup as always. I love me some Ayuk. I own him pretty much everywhere. You talked about these guys kind of already anyway, but he's in your lineup, no questions asked.
He's the dude.
I love it. Love to see when a plan comes together. Despite my record, a couple of nice pieces, at least going the way I called it. Didn't help the team, but
right.
Looks good for the podcast, I guess. Do you have anybody else in this game since I tried to skip it?
Nah, but we are taking the Seahawks together. So.
Yes, we are. That was already predetermined. Cowboys at Eagles, Sunday night football, minus 10.5, over under 43. Sad moment for you, Van. Andy's doubtful after taking that murderous hit last week.
Scumbag. Such a scumbag move, dude.
Tried to kill him on live TV.
Disgusting.
Sad.
Atrocious behavior.
Absolutely, absolutely sad. We hear today that Miles Sanders is out. Alshon Jeffrey is also out. Rager is back for the Eagles. Not the Sunday night game that people thought we were going to get when we saw it on the schedule.
Yeah, I mean, they just keep cranking out these primetime games for the NFC East, but that's what it is.
Division.
They keep rolling, so I'm going to keep watching because they're always so bad but fun-ish. I don't know.
I mean, Zeke. Let's just start on the Cowboys side of the ball. Zeke's he's in your lineup. Like it is what it is. Yeah, how you benching Zeke?
You're not.
Just sucks.
Yeah. He just seems like so deflated after Dak left. Like he just
Well, now and you lose
his demeanor and have I think he's just mentally having because like the fumbles, Zeke doesn't fumble. So
Correct.
It's been rough.
He lost those 2 balls, then Andy gets fucking crushed. Like it's just hasn't been a great time.
Yeah, it's a weird like crashing of waves for him. Like gets paid, bad things happen. He's like, he doesn't need to care. And like, what's weird is they're so much in this race. Like it's nothing new. Like you can win. Now it's looking like an all-time low of like 6 wins to win this division. Yeah. But the attitude of the Cowboys is just like, and the morale just seems very low. And I get it. It's just like it's hard to look at this team. It's like, God, this is brutal.
I think the only person that I can consider, and it's probably more DFS for me, is CeeDee Lamb. Because Amari Cooper draws Darius Slay, who's been red hot. It wouldn't shock me if we watch everybody else here just go belly up.
I 100% agree. I think everyone is very sittable. Even Lamb. Like, Lamb looks like the guy to have the most opportunity and do it, but we have not seen anything from Ben DiNucci beside passes.
I'm with you. I don't think it's a have to. I just think if you're going to or you want
the best
DFS guy.
The best case out of this team is Lamb has the best shot to do well. I think Cooper's very sittable. Gallup's droppable. Lamb is, interesting. Maybe get away with a Schultz play,
I don't know. I'm scared on Schultz. He's got 63 yards over the last 3 games.
Yeah, you're right.
He scares me. I think I'd rather roll the dice on a
Ebron? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Which is not great either.
This is so dark.
It's shut it down. I mean, it's Zeke because of who he is. Otherwise, you don't want to touch really. You touch
no, and the matchup sucks for Zeke. Like, dude, they're gonna kill him.
Yep. It's going to be another 5-point week for Zeke, and you're just going to have to take it because if you sit him and he goes off, you're suicide watch. So it is what it is.
And Mike McCarthy sucks. Like, he's got to get fired. Like, I know a lot of shit went down, but dude, he is just a bad coach.
You can say that again.
He's a bad coach.
Amen, brother. Amen. Carson Wentz, I think, is actually in a nice position here to have a potential blow-up spot against a bad defense who's giving up a league-high 34.7 points per game and 15-1 TD to interception ratio.
Yeah, man, back from the dead on that Thursday night against the Giants. He played so bad. And then I look at, our league scores and stuff like that, and I'm just like, how the fuck did he get 27 points? He was terrible and just slung it around. I don't know, but yeah, you're totally right. I think he's in that grouping we were just talking about, like the Kirks, the
streaming pop.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think a guy we probably should have been talking about him in that threshold before. I think you're right. He might edge out all those guys, honestly.
He's close with Jimmy G.
So you're still like Kirk Moore?
Kirk's my number one, baby.
That's insane. Okay.
No, he's not. But
get your story straight, Schreck. Who do you like more?
Overall, out of all four?
Yeah.
It's Jimmy G, Carson Wentz, Kirk, Carr.
Okay.
On the record, that's where I'll stand.
Okay.
Don't feel great, but that's where I'll stand. Yeah. Miles Sanders out. Boston Scott was the clear-cut guy in Week 7 with him out again. I was trying to see. I guess he's a running back too against a bad Dallas defense.
I think he's a low one, man.
Okay, that's fine.
He was great against the Giants. Also, it's a very similar matchup, a good one. So I think he's going to be just fine.
He's going to be what you wish Zeke was. Which is pathetic, but it's true. On the receiving side, who do you trust? Anybody?
It's tough to say. I guess Fulgham. I mean, the matchup's just so good. Fulgham's been very, very good. But like Rager comes back and fucks things up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that leaves Hightower, who's been leading the air yards on the outs. And then another thing for the passing game too, we don't know if Goddard's going to be active or not. Yeah. So right now, Dick Rod is absolutely a must-play tight end, I think. Like we were wondering about that against the Giants, and then it wound up just hitting. So I think he's, a slam play against the Cowboys, who have not been good against anybody or anything. So if Dick Rod goes, you play him. If Goddard is a surprise active, I think he becomes a slam as well.
I am right there with you. I definitely agree. Will be interesting to see, but yeah, I'm fine with Fulgham and then Dick Rod. Love it.
How could you not?
Everybody does. Everybody's all in. You got anything else in this game?
Nah, Eagles easily.
Yeah, it's Eagles by a long shot. And Monday Night Football. Tampa Bay Buccaneers -10.5 at the New York Giants. Yikes. Over under 46. Goodwin is out. And let's start on the Tampa Bay side of the ball. Tom Brady having himself a season. Holy moly.
Yeah.
He's going to do it again.
I think so. Looking at his fantasy points, it's a little misconstrued. Like he's gone up, gone down. Like, and when he goes up, it's fucking like 30 points. But when he goes down, it's like 8. So, and that's where they win games too. They run and short intermediate passing. So, I mean, against the Giants, it looks like a very good matchup. I'd be a little skeeved out just because Godwin's out. Mike Evans is going to be on Bradbury most likely, so
Yep.
it's going to limit him. And he sucked regardless. I don't even know if it's Evans' fault or what, but just has not been the same explosion we expect, when Jameis is just chucking shit.
You know what's scary here is that Bruce Arians announced Fournette has taken over the Tampa's passing down back. Fournette as the
Scary
passing-
for like Ronald Jones or
Ronald Jones. I mean, he's obviously outsnapped Ronald Jones, but I don't know. Just I need to see some more here. But the matchup puts him as a low running back too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ronald Jones still does his thing. I think he's a low one, kind of earned that spot. And then Fournette, I think, is, after coming back from injury, great game against the Raiders. That was really kind of out of nowhere and did it, again, like you said, through much of the receiving game. So
coming out party.
Yeah, and that was in a blowout. So this is probably going to be another blowout, I would think.
It should be.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they use both these guys again, but they're very much on the or rather Leonard Fournette is definitely playable for sure. He's like a high 2, and then I think Ronald Jones is low 1.
Okay. I'm a little lower, I think, on Ronald Jones, but I don't have a problem with the call. It's like you said, it's a good start for this pretty much this entire offense. Rob Gronkowski is obviously a tight end 1. He is starting in your lineup for sure.
Yeah, and like us going from like Rob is washed to oh my god.
Yeah, we were at cut Rob Gronkowski, and now it's like, ooh, let's pump the brakes on Rob Gronkowski.
Of course, it was the classic cut his ass and then immediately starts doing well. So it was the curse of LTFF, or I guess everybody in the fantasy community. But
whatever it takes.
He's fucking back and looks really good. Like eye test, everything. I think he just needed to shake the rust, and he looks much better now. And obviously, getting 8 targets from Tom Brady and a lot of red zone targets helps a ton.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, do you have anything else on the Bucs?
Not really. I mean, talked about Mike Evans for like a hot second, but do
yeah,
you think? I mean, we got to talk about Scott Miller.
Okay, yes, we do.
I think that's a decent spot play, but I'm more concerned this game gets away quick and they just run it.
They just run the shit out of it. Yeah, I think Evans ends up as a fringe wide receiver 2. Low 2,
3,
high 3, I think. Obviously, like you said, he gets Bradbury, but I think you probably don't have a better option than Mike Evans.
And I think he's untradeable too. Like no one's interested. Like, dude, there's like, he's the worst part of that offense.
You're stuck with him, right? Like, I think you don't have a better option, and like you said, you can't trade him. So it's like, well, I at least want a piece of this Tom Brady offense with the way he's been playing lately. And if that's the only one I have, that's what I'm going to have to roll with.
Also,
unfortunately,
AB is coming next week.
That's true.
So that also just like fucks everything up.
Another reason you're not going to be able to trade Mike Evans, but
correct.
And we'll see. Scotty Miller is also obviously going to be impacted here. He's
out of a job.
Well, he may still technically collect the unemployment check, but it's not going to be as great as it was.
Agreed.
On the Giants side of the ball, yikes! I don't even want to talk about Slayton or Shepard as they're boomer bust flex options.
Yeah,
I'm looking elsewhere, but I think that's if I needed to pick 2 guys, that's pretty much it. Wayne Gallman's going to be the guy at running back, and I don't give a shit.
No, it's just such a bad matchup. Like the Bucs are going to fuck them up. Wayne Gallman's like unplayable.
Yep.
I don't know. Like someone is going to catch a touchdown between Slayton and Shepard, and Shepard coming back is like the worst case scenario for these guys because
just makes it even more muddled than it was.
Yeah, it takes away the Slayton upside, takes away anything that was cool about potentially. Like, he looked so good early, like Slayton, and now it's just kind of they have this wide arsenal of people, and like one guy catches a touchdown a week. So it's a huge fucking problem. Like Evan Ingram is like that low Ebron level tight end.
Yep.
Slayton is whatever. I don't know. They all cancel each other out now. There's no upside to it.
It's a shit show. There's nobody on the Giants that I want to start if I can avoid it.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. It's a shame.
I think it's clear we're picking the Giants. So
say that again.
I think it's clear we're picking the Giants. So we're gonna sweep that on through. But that's gonna do it for us here, Vin, with Week 8. Another one in the books, and every week's a big week, guys, from here on out, right? We talked about it with our league record, and we got to imagine there are plenty of other leagues like that with the way the season's kind of shaking out, where 1 or 2 weeks and maybe a couple lineup decisions really can make the difference on whether you're competing for a playoff spot or a league bitch spot.
Hell yeah, man! It's pretty much just stay diligent, pay attention. I would like to say don't panic, but I say panic every single week. So,
what's your parting message to the people, man?
That was it.
Panic.
Don't panic when I say panic when I don't. I don't know. Stick with what you're doing. Just keep I know a lot of people that are just like getting fucked, like schedule fucked. Like you are leading the league in like your top 3 in points, but you're like 2 and 6, or what is it? 2 and 5 now.
2 and 5 technically.
So yeah, I don't just like stick with it because you don't have to panic trade if you're like putting up points. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
But also don't be stupid. Pay attention. Work the wire. Don't get complacent. Never rock on what you're. Don't fucking stay on like a sinking ship just because you are. Like you don't want to stay there.
Yeah, I actually that reminds me of a good point. We had a good conversation with someone on Twitter this past week, and they were like, they sent in a trade question, and they were asking, they're like, well, I spent a second round pick on Joe Mixon.
Irrelevant.
And guys, like we harp on this, and like the first couple of weeks, if you still want to hold on to that, like you can hold on to it. It's still trash, but I'll give you that in the beginning. But we're Week 8, right? And where you drafted somebody now is totally irrelevant. It's a what have you done lately for me kind of thing. And that's it. Their value is what it is. I mean, Joe Mixon value was at an all-time high probably after his explosive week, and now he's been banged up and out. Miles Sanders has been tracked. Like, Mike Evans was all right, and then you couldn't move him for a bag of chips. Like, it's all what's going on in the now. So just be cognizant of that in general, guys. Like when Vinny says, don't get complacent and don't just do things to do them. Sometimes you can't have a legit conversation with people on trades because you're too locked in on I paid a second round pick for Joe Mixon. Nobody cares.
Yeah, literally, that is so out the window, and I don't know how that ever became a thing. Like, this is where my value stands. Like, the person doesn't have to trade with you. Like, I would just be like, oh, you want second round value? Like, what does that even mean right now? Like, you're not getting like automatically that shifts back to a reality that doesn't exist where everyone is hindsight and It's just reshuffled. And it's like, dude, there's no value. It's what you did. I don't give a fuck. Do you want to do this trade or not? Like So trades are all about needs. You want to give someone something they don't have to get something that you don't have. So
sometimes guys, you have to give a little bit more than you get just to make it, if you really need that piece, you got to give up 2 or you got to give up a little something else if you have enough to sustain it. That's just the name of the game.
I wish Walsh was here. That's all he does. His trades are like the saddest, like, I'm like scuffling your feet around. Like,
but he's all in.
Yeah, exactly. Shit you need to do, and he pulls the trigger more than anyone I've ever seen. I'm just like, that shit is so scary and beyond me. But yeah, that's sometimes what you got to
do. He does what needs to be done. The anxiety would be definitely too much, I think, for the both of us. But he's willing to take it head on, and we applaud you for that, Walshy. But Vin, that's going to do it for us here in the Week 8 preview, guys. For Let's Talk Fantasy Football, I'm Nick Schreck. He's Vinny Gonzalez. We will catch you on the flip side.
This has been Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Thanks for listening.